Have I ever told you the story of how I didn't really discover Nick. Nick made his own way, but how I found Nick or saw Nick?
No.
So it was a Saturday afternoon, and my head scout called me and said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" I said, "I've got nothing planned." He says, "I want you to go to Strasbourg, or not to Strasbourg, I want you to go to Lumsden, and I want you to watch this hockey player, the Schultz player." So I came out to the Lumsden Arena, and it was lined with people and probably 2 scouts from every team, and they were out there to watch Jesse Schultz, his cousin. And Jesse was 6'1", big kid, could skate and could score at will, and everyone was out there watching this fella. But there was a little 5'8" guy, and I shouldn't say a little 5'8", that's what I am. But there was this 5'8" defenseman that was playing that I just fell in love with. I thought, this kid's a hockey player, and that was Nick. So I decided I would follow Nick, and what was interesting is the next week, I think it was, Jesse went down with a separated shoulder injury from a hit or something to that, you probably remember. And anyways, at that time I was driving an old Datsun vehicle that was freezing cold, so I would put on this great big snowmobile suit and my big winter boots and mitts, and I would drive out and follow watching Nick play at the Long Lake League. So I'd go to places like Imperial and Simpson and Watson or Watrous and watch him play. And I remember one specific game, I think it was the last provincial game that he played, and I drove out there, and I would get undressed from this big snowmobile suit in the car and put on my PA jacket so I looked like this scout, and would go into the rink. And I think that game they lost 13-0 or 13-1, something to that, and I had a little chat with Nick just immediately after the game. He didn't even get to go to the dressing room, and I remember asking him how far he wanted to go, and he had tears flowing down his face because you know, it was the end of his season. He was heartbroken that he wanted to go and he wanted to play, and he said, "I want to go as far as I can." And I said, "Well," "we're really interested in you in Prince Albert." So I enjoyed. Anyways, on draft day, my head scout called me, and I had begged him. I said, "You've got to draft this Nick Schultz kid." He called me and he said, "Scott, I want to let you know that we drafted Nick with our first pick in the 3rd round of the Bantam draft." And I said, "Well, thank you." And he says, "No, congratulations to you, we got him." And you know, the story goes on that the next year as a 15-year-old, Nick played up in Yorkton. He was invited to the All-Star game, won the best defenseman in the All-Star game, and you know, I guess it's history. But I remember I was standing with my head scout at that All-Star game, and a scout from another team walked over and said, "Boy, you guys sure did your homework on that Nick Schultz kid." And my head scout just gave me a big slap on the back, and but you know what, there was just something about him. He was a player. I should tell you that I came out to one game here in Strasbourg, and I was the only person in the rink besides this really tall guy standing in the corner. And I walked over and just chatted with this guy, and apparently it was Nick's older brother, who was playing, I think, in Melville at the time. And I looked at this guy because he was huge. He was like 6'4". And then I looked down and I thought, this guy's going to grow. And he had told me that his dad was 6'1", and so I thought, 5'8" now, but he's got good sized feet, he's going to grow. And that was the story I told my head scout, so that they would draft him. There you go. Yeah. It's history.
And he did grow.
Straight to PA and then straight to the Minnesota Wild. Yeah. How exciting for him.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, fun to watch.
Yeah. Thank you, Scott.
Oh, you're welcome. So they say he's my claim to fame, but it's not really my claim to fame. He was a hockey player. He did it. Somebody would have found him. Somebody would have discovered him. It might have been a little later. So it might have been that scout that we talked about before that was sitting at the All-Star game that were finally doing their homework, but it was too late. He was already picked. So there you go.